Hello, chefs. This is Chef's PSA. I'm your host, André Natera. Today, we welcome back Chef Aaron Bludorn, who leads the restaurant group behind Bludorn, Navy Blue, Bar Bludorn, and Proceed. He's joined by Allie Peña, the new executive chef of Bludorn Restaurant in Houston. We talk mentorship, becoming a leader, and we get nitpicky about setting up a proper workstation. Stay tuned. This episode of Chef's PSA is brought to you by Foods in Season. Spring is here, so it's time to bring in the heavy hitters. Think ramps, fiddlehead ferns, fresh morels, dayboat halibut, and the Wagyu of salmon, wild Columbia River king salmon. No farmed fish here ever. Just wild, just premium, just in season. If you care about quality, this is where it starts. I've been using Foods in Season for years. They always deliver. Trusted by top chefs for wild foraged and seasonal goods. You get a dedicated rep, sustainable sourcing, and overnight delivery across the country. Order today, have it on your line tomorrow. Visit foodsinseason.com and mention Chef's PSA to get free shipping plus a sample box on your first order.
I would be the executive chef of Bludorn, which is the flagship restaurant.
Yeah, and how long have you been in position now?
In that position?
Yeah.
No,
A week.
It has, yeah.
A week?
Yeah.
So you guys started working together, what, like 5 years ago?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was going to a job interview. I did the whole thing because I was a part of another company for a very long time. And I just wanted a refresher. And I say the story all the time, but I went running. I saw the building. I saw the pass. I saw somebody sitting at the pass. Ended up being Chef Aaron, and I was like, "What is this place?" And I was like, I knew what it was before, but I'm like, "What is this place?" And I stopped my run, sat there, and just started finding out. I, quote unquote, stalked to find out what was going on in this building. Found it out, applied, and I think a week later.
Which building was it?
The Bludorn.
So currently, where you're the chef now.
Mm-hmm.
Were you nervous going in?
I
Did you know Aaron?
No.
It's kind of a big deal.
Mm-mm. I mean, I knew of him. Yeah.
No, yeah, you are. I'll
Yeah.
say he's kind of a big deal.
I
right?
knew of him. So this is funny too. I knew of him, and I was like, "Oh wow, okay, cool. This guy's not going to be here, but the team is great."
Yeah.
So I write my letter to the CDC and now Chef Chase, and I was like, what I said. And I walk in and I'm nervous already because I hadn't been a cook in a very long time.
So you were already head chef.
I got put in a management role. Just kind of how it happened. It's not what I wanted. I was trying to find a cooking position. I wanted to do the whole thing. And I got put in a management role. I learned a lot from it, and I'm incredibly blessed from it now. But yeah, so I was nervous walking in, and I go up to the pass and I see Chef Aaron, and I'm like, because my letter was written to.
Was it handwritten?
Yeah, no, it was typed. It was typed, but I was like, oh no, I was not prepared for this. And we're all in, masks at the time, and I'm like, hi, and I don't even know. I remember saying what I wanted within 5 years, what I wanted for 10 years. I remember saying what I just wanted in general, walking in the building, and then I got to see the kitchen, and I was just like, man, I want this job. I want to do it in this kitchen, and I got to.
So with 5 years with the company,
Mm-hmm.
and which did you do the circuit of all the restaurants?
I did. I don't know if it was planned that way, but it happened. So yeah, I did. I went through the stations as a cook, became a sous chef of Bludorn, and then I was offered the executive sous chef for Navy Blue under Chef Jared, and
For the opening.
yeah, for opening, which was awesome because I got now 2 restaurants that I open, one as a cook, one as an executive sous. And then getting to see how Chef Jared works after Chef Aaron and Chef Chase, it was just another tool that I could just have in my pocket.
And Chef Jared came with you, right?
Yeah. He came from, he was with me at Cafe Balud and then moved down to open up Navy Blue.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, it's interesting how you got such a good following. Your team's been with you for quite some time, and you've grown them.
Yeah. I mean, Allie is literally what I'm most proud of, and not with a lot of other chefs, but the idea of what she's done, you know, to open up Bludorn with us, work all the stations, get the great foundation, then move on to be a sous chef, then move on to be an executive sous chef in an opening, and then open as a chef. You cannot ask for more than that as a chef restaurateur. That's insane.
So I think about mentorship. I think about it a lot, but there's also the mentee's perspective. Like there's your perspective of how things went, and there's your perspective of how things are going initially. So I want to ask you first, were you quickly able to recognize the talent?
100%.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something I think any chef can say, is that within the first 5 minutes of seeing someone walk into a kitchen, how they hold themselves, you can tell
how they set their cutting board up.
Everything.
Right.
And we zero into that stuff.
Yeah.
And I can even remember when Allie came to open call. It was literally the first day of open call. Here I am sitting on the other side. She says she's nervous. I'm so nervous because, you know, it's hard to find good cooks. It's hard to find good team. And I had no idea, being new to Houston, what you know I was going to open those doors to. And we found, you know, some of almost our entire management team 2 years later in the company was found that first day.
Really?
Which is wild.
Yeah, that is wild.
Yeah.
How long had you guys worked together before? And I know this, and you know this. Like behind the scenes conversations are starting to happen. Like you're like, oh, she's good. We should keep an eye on her. Like, let's start getting her ready for the next position.
It was day one.
So you're already having conversations with your CDC or exec sous?
Absolutely.
Yep.
She was, you know, when Chase and I, you know, took all the resumes and talked about it, you know what you do. Okay, this person's going to be good for entremet. This person's going to be good for garde manger. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, entry level. They have some experience. Let's try them out there. Meat station, fish station. And it's all just a guess, really.
Right.
And then, you know, you start on first day of training. All right, how are they doing? Okay, this one's going to stay there. We're going to move this cook over.
Playing Tetris.
Yeah, it's Tetris. Right?
Yeah.
And Allie from day one it was so clear that she was ready to be on the hotline. She was ready to take a very challenging station. And unfortunately, every entremetier, because that was the station that she ended up on, had to deal with an overload of you know, station work. That station literally became the odds and ends for everyone because she could handle it. You know what I mean?
Was it like that initially, or it just grew into that because you were good?
It grew into that because she was good, and she won't admit that, but that was how it was. And then so every entremetier after that, we had to sort of pare that station back down.
So so now from your perspective, did you know you were good? No. Okay. So they were keeping their eye on you, but you didn't. You weren't aware.
That's what makes her good, right?
Right. Okay. Humility.
Yeah. I'm incredibly insecure of myself, I guess.
Yeah.
Like in my work. Not that I don't think I can, because I have that fight, but it's just like, what do you mean? Like, I do remember on the station, and I was begging Chef Chase. I was like, Chef, please let me come in like an hour and a half early. Because at the beginning, like it's a new restaurant. Like you're prepping your own sauces, you're prepping your everything you're using, you're doing. And I was stressed out, and I remember telling him, I was like, please let me come in. Like, I won't clock in. It's not about that. I was like, I just need to get set up on time. And he was like, Allie, you're fine. And I was like, I'm like crying. I'm like, I'm really not. But yeah, you find a way to do it. And it's funny because like that mentor challenging you and pushing you is making you incredibly stronger and faster and whatever. And I remember when they moved me to fish, I was like, no, I'm not ready.
So what's the hard station there? Like what's the one station in the restaurant that everyone's like, oh, if you work there, you're a gangster?
That's hard.
Is it fish?
Fish is one of them, but meat. I mean, meat's a beast.
Yeah.
Meat
like,
is the beast.
Texas.
Yeah.
Because you're controlling the line. It is Texas. You have all of these steaks, but I think it's more so like leading the line, because that station leads the team to get everybody up on.
What's your favorite station though? Like if someone's calling out and you have to reshuffle everyone, you're like, I'm working this station. Where are you going?
You know, surprisingly, I hated fish, but I fell in love with fish.
I like fish. I like garde manger. I like fish. I fucking hate the grill.
Oh, yeah.
I'll like think of every excuse to like, oh no, it's because my back, or whatever. Like I don't want to work the grill. It's hot, and not that I can't. It's just it's not enjoyable for me. I don't like working the grill.
I love the grill.
Do you?
I love.
There's
there's
a special place for you.
I think also at the time of like I'm Like, I guess I will brag a little. Like, I got to be part of that opening team. You had these like fun things to do. Like, I remember one time you brought in, what did you bring in, that A5 Wagyu?
Oh yeah.
I got to eat, like, I got to cook. Have I ever done that before? No.
Yeah.
I was searing foie and I became like pretty good. Like, it's just the feeling of like conquering, I think. Like, oh, I can do this. That made me love grill. Wow, I guess I love grill.
I want to go back to one thing that's so important that we were just talking about is the humility and the fact that every chef is insecure and constantly insecure.
Yeah.
I am constantly insecure every day. I still wake up with anxiety that we're not going to be able to perform, you know, and I think that, and I've had that since I was a cook. And just sort of like those butterflies, you know, on your first day back from a weekend, you know, that Monday, not walking into something you don't know, and that unknown creates a little bit of that anxiety, but that's what pushes you.
Right.
That's what makes you good, because you're constantly striving to be that person that you have in your mind you being. And, you know, I think Allie was one of those people that had that constantly every day. She would come to me and say, it's not good enough. I'm not doing a good enough job. And I'll tell you that.
Right.
I'll tell you when you're not doing good enough, but you're doing great. Keep going, keep pushing. That insecurity, you know, to go back to it, is what makes you great. And I think that's part of it's, you know, yeah, we shouldn't be living in this like constant ball of anxiety as chefs, but I think you need to know how to harness that. And those who can harness it as a young chef and use it as their superpower really become great.
Well, it's interesting because, yes, we all face doubts. We all think our food's not good enough or it could be better. But there's people that get paralyzed by it, and so they don't move forward, and there's other people that move forward in spite of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think when you're able to understand that every single successful chef out there, the chef that you would put on Mount Rushmore of chefs, they've had doubts. They've been insecure before.
Still do.
They still do, right?
Still do.
But they still keep going forward in spite of the fact that they are insecure. And then there's other people that's like, I'm just not good enough. I'm going to stay here so I could be the best cook in the worst kitchen, and no one's ever going to know me, but I'm the king of the rats here. And sometimes it's that limiting belief that you put on yourself. You know this. Like, you could take someone that is confident and is willing to go forward even when it's hard, and they will be so successful just because they are like, hey, you know what, I fall down but I get back up, versus the other person that says, you know what, I fell down and I'm going to quit because today my station crashed, I'm never coming back tomorrow.
Well, then we all know what happens to the people that are overconfident and think they can do everything and tell you about their last job. And how
Exactly.
That's the other swing.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a double-edged sword, right? Yeah. You get too confident and you walk in with a bunch of hubris and like, well, my last restaurant. This is how we did it.
Restaurant. Oh my God. Yeah. There needs to be a nickname for that.
Last restaurantism. You know, it's the word. And you know what? We've all done that. Like, sometimes I catch myself doing that still. I'm like, no one wants to hear this shit.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear that. Like, I know I shouldn't do it, but sometimes I still do it. From a mentorship perspective, because obviously, I mean, you worked under one of the greats, and now I think that you are becoming one of the greats. If not, you might already be there. And
thank you, but
I think it's one of those things, like, we know that person's gonna be, but we'll just wait until we could officially, you know, put the crown on. I would say you're arguably the king of Houston, maybe.
No.
No, yeah, I'll say it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't consider myself that. And again,
El Rey, yeah. but you know, Danielle is also, you know, one of the greats, and you had a great mentorship with him, Gavin. How important is it for you to give back?
100%. That's what I do it for.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's why I build the restaurants the way they are built, is to create chefs. And that's why I started this whole conversation saying Allie is what I'm most proud of. But the idea of Allie, and we have others that have done the same thing, you know, at all of our other restaurants. And right now, every chef that has a executive chef position started either as a cook or a sous chef. And that, to me, you know, yeah, it's great to bring Jared down, and that's cheating. You know what I mean? Bringing someone else to the market. But to really do your job well and to set up your culture the way it should be is to have mentorship and to be able to create the next generation of chefs. And that's what I set out to do in Houston from day one, was not to necessarily beat my own chest, but to build a culture and a system where I could basically what Danielle did for me, because I was there for 10 years and I started as a cook there. For what my experience was there over 10 years, I would like to create that for Allie, for all of our other chefs in our restaurants, give them that ability to create their own careers through our kitchens. Because at the end of the day, you know, when someone stays as long as Allie, that is, I mean, you talk about staff retention.
Yeah.
That's 5 years already, and now she's becoming a chef. I'm winning, but she's also winning at the same time.
Right.
Because when she leaves and graduates, she's going to have the wherewithal that I did when I left Danielle and be ready to open up her own restaurant. And just like Danielle did for me, I'll be there to mentor her to that, you know, and to help her out. And that to me is the most important thing that I can do for this industry, you know, and not to, it's not about me winning or doing any, you know, having success. It's about me being able to build that and to build that in a city that is really, really growing. And the culinary scene is continuing to burst out of its seams. But how do we do that sustainably?
Yeah.
And how do we continue to move it forward so the chefs, the next generation of chefs are better than us, right? So
I had a conversation with two different people the other day. It was interesting because one person was working for a chef, and you know, the chef wanted all the shine. Like they were like, absolutely, you don't talk to customers. Like it's my show,
yeah.
Right? Like zero shine for my team. It's all about me. And then I was talking with, and that person, by the way, you know, hated it. Does not like being in that. And I know for a fact, like you don't. Sometimes it's great to work under these chefs, but like when they don't want anyone else on their team to shine and they get upset with you when you do get a little bit of shine, that's not a good environment.
Oh,
it's the worst, actually. And so then the other person I'm having a conversation with is asking me a completely opposite questions, like how do I get my team to shine more, right? And it's interesting because I'm like, these are two accomplished chefs that are having very different conversations with me, and when I was a chef, it kind of happened by accident. I mean, I always promoted my team, but I got to a point where I really promoted my team. More so where people wondered, like, where's André? It's like, it's always about the team. Like, did I disappear too much? And what I found is, like, when you have a successful team and you know, let's just say you have 5 chefs in the group or 5 direct reports and you're constantly elevating them and making them more successful, that eventually also, it's success for you too. Yeah. And that's what a lot of these egotistical chefs are missing. It's like when your team wins, you also win. It's like they win, you win. Yeah. When you only win, that's only one. But you have an opportunity to become a force multiplier and have, you know, 10 different wins depending on how many people are on your team.
Well, look at all the great chefs, you know, the Mount Rushmore chefs right now.
Yeah.
Now, I think they almost more compete over what are their proteges doing. And right. How many proteges do they have with restaurants?
Do they compete about that?
I think so. Hey, absolutely. Yeah, and there's a sense of pride there.
Yeah, there is.
You know what I mean? Think about it. Like, yeah. And you know, I mean, like, look, Matt Peters and I, we both come from 2 different schools,
right?
You know, and there's, you know, but then think about the schools that TK produced with, you know, Grant, and you know, it just, yeah. I mean, the list goes on.
And then sometimes you have like step parents.
Yes.
You know, like they worked under 2 great chefs. It's like, who gets to claim them?
Oh, yeah. Good point, yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. So, new in position. Mm-hmm. What are some of the things like, okay, if you had like a few pieces of advice for someone that's new, and what's unique about you in particular is you're getting promoted from within where you started. So there might be some people that worked there that remember you from, you know, we started at the same time and now you're my boss. How do you navigate that?
I've always, whatever position, in whatever job, but I always put myself next to them. I do it with them. I'll show them, like, yes, I've done this too. Like, we can do this together. Look how fast. Like, I work next to them, not above them, and then eventually gain their trust. And then, because it is about trust at the end of the day, sometimes. I gain their trust, and then, you know, we move on from there to the next one. And then now I can be like, hey, I really need this. Can you help me out? And they'll be like, yeah, absolutely, chef. And it's like without a question. And they'll just go and do it. I'll be like,
Do you have advice for new leaders when they're new in position? Like, what were some of the unexpected leadership challenges that you faced that you had to overcome?
Well, I can speak from experience when I first became a leader in general, not on the line, but manager leader, a Sue. I thought the louder I am, the more people are going to listen. And then I realized I don't have to yell. I don't have to be loud. I could just talk to you. So don't think you have to roar, I guess. Just have a conversation. And then after that, I learned, that I guess equaling with them, speaking to them, letting them know, I was once in your shoes, seeing where I am now is the best way to get people to follow you.
How does the creative process work between you two now?
It's actually one of my favorites.
Yeah, tell like for people listening, because the creative process it's unique everywhere you go.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have a lot of opinions. What's your creative process? Two questions. What's your creative process before you meet with Chef? And what's your creative process when you guys collaborate?
I have a journal that I write any little idea I get in. I like to pick and pull from different, I guess, experiences. I do have a background. I'm Mexican, so I'll take a lot of food that like my grandmother would make me, or on my dad's side too, they're more Gulf Coast, and so they have different kinds of like soups and stews, and I think of the flavors. I think of like combining it with, I guess, the French technique, the French cuisine, because it's one of my favorites. And the way I approach Chef is, I'll write it down and I go, so I have this crazy idea, and he'll be like, okay, yeah, interesting, and then he'll come to me and be like, yeah, but what if you, and he'll just layer it, and I'm like, oh, okay, and it gets me thinking more. And I don't know. I think it's great. I know sometimes some like to feel like they can have the total control, I guess, over creativity, but why, if you can have so many Swiss Army knives help build something else? So like everything that I've ever had an idea, I go straight to, Chef Aaron, and he's just like, oh, but think of it this way. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. And then think about it this way, and like, oh, okay. Or he'll vice versa. He's like, hey, Allie, wouldn't this be kind of cool? Wouldn't this be crazy?
I'll generally text her randomly.
Yeah.
When I get a random idea, I'm like, hey, what about this product? And it's always, I'm always product driven when where my creativity goes. I'm like, what's in season? Or like, I said, hey, I saw porcinis on this email. What can we do with porcinis right now? And then we start bouncing back and forth on the line. It's almost like a time killer sometimes, just to like fill the conversation. And unfortunately, the porcinis were not available in Houston. And, I got the national email from whatever, this one purveyor. And like, anyway, so that idea died. But then, it's kind of like, all right, well, what else can we do now? And that's how I do it. Or sometimes I'll just see something randomly, think something randomly, and fire off a text. And
you like frozen porcini?
Not really.
Like for puree or anything like that?
I mean, you could make puree. I'd rather just make it out of like a really good, like roasted cremini, and then add porcini powder. It's like where
random, but I remember I had this Italian chef. We had this Italian restaurant, and I found his freezer one day. He was from Italy. He's from Venice, and he loved porcinis. And I opened up the freezer. It was a stand-up reach-in freezer, and it was filled with frozen porcinis.
Interesting.
And I was like, why is food cost so high? It's all these frozen porcinis from Italy.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's funny. It's every now and again you'll hear something that like triggers a memory. Yes. You've been cooking so long. I've been cooking so long. You've been cooking a long time. Like every now and again you'll remember something. It's like, oh, I forgot that happened.
Yeah. I know, and that's the most fun. Like when your brain like goes back to that point, or like even like the smells can do it, or even like when I go on the walk-in, for some reason the smell of fresh strawberries always brings me back to Canlis.
Really?
Because I was the intern there, and I was always in charge of like rearranging the walk-in, and they always had fresh strawberries when I was there, or a lot of the time, and or maybe it was the first time I went in there, and it just like triggers that memory back to that walk-in.
It's funny. I have a friend, one of my friends. Shout out to Paul Peddle. He's the chef at the Four Seasons in Houston, and I was talking to him on the phone the other day, and we used to work together. He was my exec sous, and I was his chef. And he's like, "Do you remember one of the cooks fainted on the line. I was like, no. He's like, yeah. And there was this other older cook, Joe. I think his name's Joe Cruz, right? He's like, and Joe was like kicking him out of the way. He's like, chef, we got orders to move this guy out of the way, like cooking over the guy that was passed out. And I was like, I don't remember that. He's like, you don't remember that? Like, it's funny how, and then I remembered it. I was like, oh yeah, how did I block that?
But no, we block things out. We block those traumatic experiences out because people will bring that same thing up to me. I'm like, no, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember that cook walking out.
As they say, things that you'll never remember and they'll never forget.
Exactly.
Right?
And I tell that to, when I have a cook that had a tough night and they come and they apologize to me at the end of the night, I'll tell them, I already forgot about it. Just don't do it again tomorrow. Then I'll start remembering it.
Right. Right. Oh, it's so funny. Do you how do you deal with young cooks that are coming into the kitchen right now? Because most likely they're working more directly with you than you, realistically.
1,000,000%. Yeah.
Right. So so you had your mentorship. How do you now in turn mentor the green cook that's coming in that's right out of culinary school to work with you?
Oh, man, it's probably one of my favorite things to do. My kitchen, or Bar Bludorn, I opened Bar Bludorn as the executive chef, and I had a handful of green cooks, and I had a handful of like cooks from other places that have only ever touched maybe Garmo. But I like to show them that there's patience. I do like to push them, and I like to just tell them, I think we mentioned it earlier, it's like, whatever you do, just don't quit. Like, if you don't quit, you're going to be fine. You're going to be golden.
Allie is the remember the movie Bad News Bears? Walter now it's what, Billy Bob Thornton?
Yeah.
What
yeah.
is it? Was that the one?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, Allie, I remember saying that about that team. I'm like, ooh, wow, she's got a long road ahead, but she whipped that team up real quick, and now they're all looking to be sous chefs around the company, or something, or move up, and it's really a testament to how great she is at this. This is like one of her absolute strongest suits, is being able to build a team, being able to mentor, and it's incredible to watch. I mean,
do you have a lot of cooks right now that are your mentees?
I would like to think so, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Don't be so humble.
Well, I mean, they've expressed great gratitude that I take the time to show them the little things, and it goes back to Chef Aaron, Chef Chase, those first 6 months of Bludorn. It's like just you mentioned about the way I set up my cutting board. I was a mess when I walked into that kitchen. They completely like sharpened me, and the way they folded my towels, like I take those little tiny lessons and I tell it to these cooks, because the first way to be like, one, professional, two, successful is organization and cleanliness. So I'm like, if you're not clean, you can't move anywhere. And then they'll start cleaning. It's like those tiny little things that I think some people ignore. It's like, no, it's all about the fish in the pan. It's all about the meat being beautiful and medium rare. It's like, no, it's not. Like,
everything's important.
Yeah, everything's important. Do you want to be a chef one day? Then look at everything. Yeah. Like, I guess that's my biggest lesson I give them.
And so do you have like a method that works for you to teach people so that sticks?
I don't know if I do, but it's been working. So I honestly, this might sound maybe silly, but I think it's all about the environment and the energy. In Bar Bludorn, I was very big on bringing like a very positive, like humiliation free, nobody judges anybody, like we're all gonna mess up, it's fine. And I just have that conversation, and I'm like, you don't look very clean right now, like what are you gonna do? And I'm like, do you want to move here? What do you want? Okay, well, whatever goal it is, you don't think that goal needs to start with your organization, like things like that. Like, you don't think that goal needs to start with the way you organize your prep list? Like, they're like, oh yeah. And I take them back to what they want for themselves, and want them to think about how can they get themselves there, and where are they at, and how can they use it here. Well,
we have the largest culinary audience in the world listening right now. Billions of people. I think there's billions at least listening, hopefully. For the young cooks that are listening, and let's give them some one-on-one mentorship time with you. New cook in your kitchen. What are some things that you're going to tell them on day one? Like, here, this is how we work here. Let me guide you.
I think it would start with their uniform. I want them to be like comfortable. I want their apron to be clean. I want their towels to be folded. I want them to know that this prep list is their most important list.
Let's slow down.
Sorry.
Towels, how are we folding them?
I have a specific way.
Tell us the specific way, Chef.
I want the seams facing up. I want the 2 top corners to come down. We have a yellow line. Yeah. No, just down. And then I fold it in half. And then that half I fold in half. And all the yellow lines have to be on top of another. It cannot be out of.
How many towels do they get?
3.
3. What happens if they dirty them?
So this is what I love about Bar Bludorn is, so say all the cooks get 3, right? The grill cook obviously is going to need more. The fish cook is probably going to need more. Whenever they need more towels, they will automatically go, I need a towel. And everybody in the kitchen will throw a towel. They will give up a towel to make sure that that fish cook and that meat cook has what they need. And
that's cool.
That's how they get the other towel.
How do they set up their cutting board? Is there like a specific way that you like people to set up?
You know, I just like it to where, yeah, it's in front of them. It's funny because I will tell them like horizontal, have your space, but think about the person next to you. Like, don't, you know, there's some cooks go in and they just take up so much, which was me. They used to call me Tornado Alley because I would make such a mess. But it's like, how can you limit yourself to here? How can you limit yourself to these, like this 90-degree square? And how can you think about your teammate next to you and giving them that space? So everything needs to fit here and in front of you. You have a hotel pan, and whatever you're working on, those 3 projects needs to fit in that pan. And then you need to put it away.
Great restaurants don't always bring customers in. Great stories do. Because in food, beverage, and hospitality, what you sell is only part of the story. It's the why behind it, the authority you create, and the experience that you build. Market Scale turns expertise into content that connects. Podcasts, video series, and industry education. Not ads, assets. Market Scale has brought Run the Pass and How to Manage Like an Executive Chef to life. Real-world examples of how great content leads the conversation. Because attention is earned, and the industry doesn't need more noise, it needs more leaders. Do you have like a specific way that you tell them to label?
I do.
Use tape?
We use blue tape and we cut it.
With scissors or tape cutters?
Like scissors. So scissors, we use scissors. I will say recently I have learned about this tape dispenser cutter. I used to have my thoughts on it. But at the end of the day, as long as there's straight edges, it's fine. Is there one?
So is it okay to use
kitchen?
tape cutters, or is it not okay? What, Chef? What are we doing?
We don't have one. We don't have one in our kitchen.
What color of tape is it? Blue or green?
We use blue.
There's going to be a lot of angry chefs listening right now.
No, it's the Danielle versus Thomas Keller.
Is it? I used to be a team blue tape.
Yeah.
Now I'm team green tape.
Okay, whatever is cheaper.
You know why? Have I ever told you?
No, I'm curious.
Because I was helping a chef out in Puerto Rico, and actually one of the chefs knows you. He worked with you. Anyway, I won't say who. But anyway, I'll tell you off camera. But I was helping out a chef in Puerto Rico, and they had no light bulbs in the kitchen, in the walk-in. I'm sorry. And so when I went in to look for stuff, like you can't read on blue tape in the dark, but you can read on green tape in the dark. So it was at that moment that I decided, okay, green tape moving forward.
What's more expensive? That's all I'm thinking about.
It's the same price. Okay. It's the Scotch brand, right?
Yep.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I buy it on Amazon.
That stuff doesn't. It's not as good.
So
now we're getting into.
Explain. What do you mean it's not as good?
It falls off.
No, but you're talking about the frog tape.
Oh wait, I'm talking about. What is it? Scotch brand.
Scotch brand green tape and Scotch brand blue tape, I feel stick exactly the same.
Exactly the same. No, you're right. But if you go to an off-brand,
yes,
generic,
yes, I agree.
Never work as
well.
Like
no, you're right. Yes, you're right.
What's going on here?
Yeah, I agree. They fall right off the deli container.
Honestly, that's a cost cost plus I will always take. Yeah. I will always pay more for good tape.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so back to the label. Sorry, we got way off track.
Wow.
We got into a tape debate.
We use scissors, but I will say I have seen a dispenser recently, so I'm curious to know if that's going to work. But I will say all the cooks still use their scissors.
Do you use Sharpies?
Yes.
Click Sharpies?
No.
Why not Click Sharpies?
Well, 1, they dry out, and 2, you can stain your chef coat.
That's what I've been saying for years. It's like people put them in there, and especially if you're paying for their uniforms and they come back, chef, can I get a new chef coat? I hate that. And there's nothing worse than when you're holding a meeting and someone's like click, 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 and you're trying to have a conversation. So that's why I banned click Sharpies when I was a chef.
I came out of California using click Sharpies, and then came to New York, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna show everyone something. I started doing it. I ruined one chef coat.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like ooh, and then I realized I'm like, wait a minute, no, I want the cap on it.
Yeah.
I want the cap on it.
I was
And
like, you hate click Sharpies?
well, that was 10 years of
Okay.
the Cafe Blue making me hate click Sharpies.
Yeah, I don't like click Sharpies either, for the record. But every now and again, I'll get chefs like, no, you got for expos, the only one allowed to use a click Sharpie because it's faster.
They
It's like,
die so quickly.
yeah, I'm not a fan.
But I also have to have like a smooth tip. I'm one of those guys. If I'm using, you know what? We've recently. This is crazy. I never thought I get here, but we have switched all to KDS kitchen display systems.
Oh yeah, how's that?
I actually really like it.
I it confuses the shit out of me.
Gavin Kaysen,
Yeah,
like sold me on it
really.
because for years I love tickets. You know what I mean? I'm the guy with got the ticket, the cap in my mouth, and I'm like writing the ticket, like like pop it back in, go. And I like to play around with tickets on the board. I have like this custom made, ticket board that I do for every one of our restaurants. And then KDS comes around, and it's.
I see you shaking your head over there, by the way.
Hey, well.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to notice that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But I mean, for communication and like the meat cook, he can have a running count on all of his meats and everything else. Yeah, no, it's kind of like.
So at the beginning of the shift, they're plugging into KDS. How many they're starting with? 25 steaks and 25 fish or whatever.
There's that, but as service goes on the bottom,
it starts deducting.
No, it keeps track of how many he has on the board.
Oh,
so wow. I mean, how do you just
so no more how many all day, chef?
Yeah, it's all right there, and then also ticket times.
Yeah,
every ticket has a time on it. So, and this is kind of selfish for me as someone who's bouncing around to restaurants. I can walk up to the pass and see where the kitchen's at. If I need to, put on my Superman cape and jump in.
Yeah,
right.
No, I know what you mean.
It's more like these days, like if I need to really screw up service.
Right. Or if you need to say, hey, this one's been 25 minutes. It should have been out 5 minutes ago.
Absolutely. I think that it gives that power to the chefs to be able to really see where they're at. Also, the communication between stations, they know what they're coming up on at the same time. Look, I am an analog guy till I die, but this was one of those situations where I was like,
well, I've never used a KDS system. Do you still? And I've never worked in a kitchen that's used it either. Do you call still, or do you not call? You still call. Yeah. So you still have to call. So there's some things that don't change, but
there's some things that don't change. It's more of like hey guys, are we all listening here?
Yeah.
And much less, for the actual, do you see it? But then, because cooks miss calls all the time and, and don't get tickets or tickets gets lost. Now it's on a screen right in front of them. It's so clear, so easy.
So when something goes out, you have to hit like out, done or something like that. Yeah.
Just double tap it.
Yeah. Okay.
Double tap.
And then when the server comes back and says, hey, you never gave me my fish.
Recall.
Okay. So
it's easy. I mean, man, it's like, look, I am, like I said, analog all day. Like I don't want to, I'm not really excited for these self-driving cars and all this other stuff, but I see this and I'm like, well, there's a lot of efficiencies here, and there's a lot.
What about robot chefs?
You know what? They can't figure that out. You've seen those like tumblers that the actual arm that's doing it. Man, they are way.
Do you use AI at all with what you do and not obviously not in the kitchen, but do you use it at all in your operation?
We're starting to.
Yeah,
we're starting to. I think there's a huge opportunity for having pricing. And comp sets.
Yep.
And using AI to see where we're at with our offerings. Like how do we stack up against the competition? Or how does our menu read? What things like that. I think it's interesting. I mean, we'll see more and more as time goes on. I think also reservation systems are going to be heavily influenced by AI, and I want to know what does that. Look, Google and Google ratings and everything that does with AI and where it pushes your restaurant to certain eyeballs. There's so much there, and it's part of it's scary, but it's just like the advent of social media. We need to know how to harness it.
Right. A lot of the places that, if I get hired to consult for a restaurant, usually the first thing I do is I put AI in there like get a chat GPT or something and I build chat bots for them. But one of the things that I found recently with AI that it's really good at this is it's great at scanning a lot of information and finding a needle in a haystack. So I'll give you an example. If I was working on tax, something with tax, and I couldn't find a certain sales tax that I needed. And it was like a 200-page document. I was like, I can't find this. So I just plug it into the AI and it says it's online, this. There you go. And then do you want me to calculate it for you? I was like, yeah, great. So so finding things like that that'll save you 30 minutes of like scrolling and then you get computer eyes, like that's good. And then for recipes, like I just did a guest chef dinner. And I need to write recipes and order guides and prep lists. And I was like, fuck, I don't have time to do all this. Like I type like that still. Or I talk type, which by the way, you could type FN twice on your Mac and I just discovered this the other day.
Ooh.
Like you type FN twice and then you just talk and then it populates.
Great punctuation.
Yeah, right. So anyway, I go to the chat GPT and I was like, write my prep list, write my recipes, and write an order list based on these 3 dishes. And boom. And then I just emailed it to my friend, like, okay, this is what you need to order. This is what you need to prep. And then I'm like very specific, like write the prep list with the proteins first, and what you deem to be the hardest work. And I just have to correct a little bit. But
Costing out recipes?
Yeah, it's great.
Wow.
It's great.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I do use it a lot for that.
Okay.
Or like if I need to mock up a dish.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm thinking of this. I'll type it up and then I'll say kind of like this. Oh yeah, that's exactly what.
No.
So at least I have an idea of how I want it to plate.
Look, I think our industry, there's a lot of industries that are at risk of a lot of like data entry, data analysis that are going to go away.
Yeah.
And it's kind of scary. This I don't know. They're talking about lawyers and doctors and all this stuff. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's
wild.
That's gonna be
It's
huge.
wild.
But we're close. And the thing that I'm hopeful for with the hospitality industry is it's still hospitality.
Right.
Like they're never going to get that human connection, which is what people look for in going to a restaurant. Is the idea that we're all, the interconnectivity. And why do you go to a restaurant? It's to see other people around. Why do you like going to a busy restaurant as opposed to going to a slow restaurant?
Right.
You want to hear the roar of the crowd. You want to see other people enjoying along with you. There's something there. We learned that during, the pandemic.
Right.
And that we needed restaurants. And it wasn't for necessarily to be fed, because we could feed ourselves.
Right.
It was for that human connection, the hospitality, someone taking care of you, enjoying someone's creativity, enjoying someone's vision of creation of a space in which humans can enjoy. And I think, I could be totally wrong here. Like, fast forward 10 years, we're like, AI figured that one out. No, but I think that human touch, that human commonality is so important for what we do and why
I agree with you. And what's interesting is like what I do, because I use AI a lot because it helps me with everything that I need to work on. It just makes me 10 times faster. If I didn't have an AI, I have like 10 AI assistants, but if I didn't have those, I'd probably need 10 employees.
Well, hopefully it makes your business more efficient.
It does. But what I was going to say is I notice a lot of people use it and I'm starting to wonder, like, am I dealing with a real person on the other end?
AT&T, hello, you listening?
Well, yeah. Well, it's not just that, but like specifically for the podcast, I get pitched. I won't tell you how much I get pitched, but I get pitched a lot for, hey, would you like to talk to so and so and so and so and so? And I read it as like, this is AI. Like I know this is not a real PR company emailing me. This is a bot, and so I have to filter out a lot of, like, I have an autoresponder now that just,
you have a bot to filter out bots?
No, just like an email reply, like an auto reply.
No one.
Right. But it's funny because like a lot of the pitches that I get is like, I know this is not a real person. And what's funny is because I use AI, and AI like it leaves a thumbprint. Like you could recognize it if you've used a lot. And I notice like a lot on social media, like people aren't writing their own shit anymore. Like it's wild. And like if you see where it's going, like with the videos, like pretty soon you're not going to be able to tell, because now they could talk. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Weird.
It's getting so here's my prediction with AI. Is I do think at a certain point it's going to hit where the robots do get good enough to cook in kitchens. I do think that's coming. But I do think what's going to end up happening is you're going to have consumers that say, I don't support robo kitchens. I only support human kitchens.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be like a big thing soon in the future. I think people are going to say, nope, I only eat in restaurants with real chefs that are with real cooks.
And that's going to be a luxury.
Yes. Yes. And it's going to be like, you know, you're elite because you have humans cook for you versus versus robots. I'd say that we're about 10 years away from that. I think it's coming.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Let's do this again in 10 years.
Yeah, we'll see.
Have the same conversation.
We'll see who's right. I want to ask. Sorry, I got distracted. I could talk about AI a lot.
That was a fun little.
That's all this is now.
Rabbit hole.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about the new cooks that are coming into the industry, and I think the path is different now than it was probably when we were coming up. When we were coming up, it was like you had to cook in what was called continental back then. It was like European, French, Italian, or just find out. Like if you want to be good, that's where you worked.
Where the culinary schools pretty much
they were pushing you. They were definitely pushing you, and it was like, okay, if you're going to go into a hotel, it needs to be a luxury hotel. You're going to go into a country club with a certified master chef, or you're going to go work in a French restaurant, or it was like there was certain paths. Where now I don't think that path is exactly the same way it was. I think now some chefs are coming out and say, I want to cook Mexican food, I want to cook barbecue, I want to cook Thai food. Where I think it's opened up the possibilities now, where the path to being a successful chef is not as linear, and it's not as it's not as black and white as it used to be.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Allie, you want to talk about that? I don't know.
Yeah, I will say I have noticed that. I probably not the exact same subject, which I will get back to that, but I feel like cooks come in and they just want to like beeline to get to that goal that they want. So they'll just move through it fast. But I don't know, I guess call me old school. I love like learning that French background or the Italian background or those linear things are such a great baseline because I'm obsessed with Mexican cuisine. Like I think it's beautiful. The flavors are great. They're unique. They're very, very bold, not like French food. I don't know, but in my head, I guess to marry the two, because think about it, like if you're thinking about the different countries, they only knew what they knew because that's how they did it always. So what happens if you just start like shifting it? Like what if the Italians, or what if, Mexico found techniques from Italy or France or Germany even with some of their vegetables? It's just, I don't know. I hope the young cooks will not ignore the old school French technique or the Italian technique, that linear line you were talking about.
I think it's coming back.
So.
I do think it's coming back. I see it now only because I think we had maybe a 10-year period where that kind of food, like it wasn't the most popular cuisine.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of people have never had it. And all of a sudden they're trying it for the first time. And it's like, I've never had, lobster bisque before, pike canal, or, like they've never had it. I was just talking with Jacob. You know Jacob, right? Yeah. Yeah. He was just on. He had just gone to Paul Bocuse.
Wow.
And he had the canals with the white sauce and the caviar on top.
My favorite.
And he was saying it's like the best thing he's ever had.
Yeah.
And it's so simple. And you look at the plate and it's like white on white with a little bit of caviar. But it's like, he's like, yeah, but it's
executed perfectly.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's what's missing is like, it doesn't have to have
flair.
Like sometimes just good food is good.
Simple. Yeah.
Look, I want to say this, wherever you come up, you have to understand what cuisines in history had the most influence, right?
Right.
And it's good to have a knowledge of everything. It's good to have an expertise somewhere, and it's good to have a curious mind, right? So just like you, we came up learning French cuisine and, the 5 mother sauces and the brigade system and, the guide culinaire, like all those. And I love that. And that when I was a young chef, that's what I wanted to learn. That's what I wanted to, but as where I am now, I'm more exploring the crossovers. And the areas where, certain cuisines cross over and have just done it by virtue of where the diaspora has been, where colonization fell, and how those cuisines came in to interact with each other. And I'll talk about this in regards to me discovering Gulf Coast cuisine, relatively recently, in the last 6 years. And if you look at the trade routes, of course, from that, all the places that France colonized, Vietnam, Senegal, West Africa, any of those places, Louisiana, and you take all those things and you put them together in a modern day context, you have a large Vietnamese population living in Houston. And Cajun cuisine that is heavily influenced by French cuisine is in Houston. And you have this crossover today.
Really?
Via Cajun, right? So, but where is it all rooted? French cuisine.
Right.
But then take one more layer. Where's Cajun cuisine? It's the intersection of West African, French, and Choctaw, and everything else that was in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And so you literally have, this cuisine of Gulf Coast today, which is West African, a little bit of Vietnamese, a little bit of French, but again, at the end of the day, it was all rooted by the colonizers' cuisine, which was French. That colonization, I'm not saying that it was a good thing, but there are these crossovers, and getting to explore it, I've only been able to do because I have a background in French cuisine, and when I have traveled to Senegal or eaten Vietnamese food, I've never actually been, which is a huge blind spot of mine, and I'm very ashamed of it. I will go one day. But you eat these foods and you see these cross sections of technique, and then you're able to take them and put them on a plate and call it Texas Gulf Coast or Houston cuisine. That's really exciting to me. And then you add in the Mexican influence, and you really have something that is so unique and so amazing. And I'm so excited to be able to shine a light on it and just call it, Gulf Coast American or contemporary Gulf Coast. And that to me is where I see my French background has really helped me out a lot, is to connect these dots and really become a part of that. So if you want to specialize in one cuisine, that's awesome, but open your mind up to the world of cuisines in order to make yourself a better chef, because you might get bored if you're pigeonholing yourself in one type of cuisine. However, look at sushi chefs. They can spend their entire lives chasing the perfection of that craft.
There's always exceptions.
There's always exceptions. But I think, you talk to a great sushi chef, Morimoto wants to know about every cuisine around the world, and has been influenced by it as well. John George is influenced by. Anyway, all of that to be said, I think it's so important to have an open mind and to be, because that'll just, at the end of the day, it's going to make you better and better and better. And when you become a restaurateur and you want to open another restaurant, it's good to know about more than one cuisine that defines you.
It's interesting. I hope I'm not ruining this conversation that I had with this other guy, because I might be keeping away his secret. But we were talking, he wants to open up a Cajun restaurant.
Sure.
And we were talking, he's like, but how do I stand out? I was like, well, when was Cajun food founded? I don't know, but a couple hundred years ago, maybe? I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is like French food back then did not look like French food now. And so if you were starting Cajun food today, what would it look like? Like if you took what's popular in France right now and blended it with what's popular in New Orleans, you'd end up with something completely different.
Yeah. Look at what Serene's doing at the Carnola.
Right.
That's a great example of
right.
it. He's brought West Africa, he's brought Senegalese cuisine to New Orleans. He's got a French background. He's, worked for Dominique Crenn. He worked in New York. There's a guy that's really pushing Gulf Coast cuisine to the next generation.
Right.
There's other ones too. But I think I think that really gets me excited about our part of the world.
Wow. I have close friends, Rico Torres from Michelin in San Antonio, and Gabe Arales. You know these guys.
Yeah, of course.
But we've been kicking around the ideas, like, I don't want to go back to being a chef, but we often joke around, like, let's open up a Mexican steakhouse. And I'm like, there's a huge opportunity for this. Like, I'm beating this subject up a lot on the show, but it's like, think about, like,
do it.
Instead of béarnaise, you get mole. Instead of bread, you get tortillas. And it's like, It would be so good.
Do it.
Take the idea and run with it. I'm like, yeah. So we like for the but the thing is, like, I don't want to be the chef. Neither does Gabe. Neither does Rico. It's like we don't want to run it.
Well, La Nacional in Monterrey is one of my favorite restaurants of all time, and it's a Mexican steakhouse.
And that's the point. Is like I saw someone posted, and it was a restaurant that I wasn't aware of in Chicago, but it's a Basque style steakhouse. I can't remember the name of it. I had just discovered it.
Yeah.
And I thought, I want to go eat there because the food looks so good. And it's just reinventing the steakhouse in a new way. Because I feel like steakhouse is great. I love steakhouse.
Sure.
But I think you could do it different now. You could do the Mexican. You could do the Basque version. You could do the French version, whatever.
It's interesting that we call it steakhouses because I know it's centered around beef, but could it be centered around meat? Can we call it a chop house? Can we? Well, because I think that's where a lot of dining is going these days. People want a table that is just full of, you have meats, you have sauces, you have sides, and you just pick your own adventure. And there's something really, and it's also like extremely hedonistic, right?
Yeah.
And
I also think people are eating that way more today.
Mhm.
A lot of people do a carnivore diet or, very, very protein centric. So I also think like it's also kind of fashionable to eat this way too. So it's not only is it good, I enjoy that kind of food, but it's also like its time has come.
We're turning it into another podcast that is also taped here in the city. I think, talking about carnivore diets. And...
Yeah, actually might be taped in the studio. Anyway,
no names.
No names. I want to wrap up just with a couple of questions. So we're going to ask you. You're working the line. Do you normally finish at the pass during service? What's on your station? What does your station look like? Walk people through that.
I have my ramekins of garnishes. I have my bottles.
What's in those bottles?
An olive oil.
Good olive oil?
Yeah, we've actually switched it up. We were using a Spanish one. What was it? Like Hoja from Trap. You remember from Rituales? I don't remember the name. But I went back to Bludorn and they're using a different one.
Now it's your choice.
I know.
Pick that finishing oil, chef. That's not.
But yeah, it's oil, it's Maldon salt, it's garnishes in my
Do
ramekins.
you have a pepper mill?
Actually, yeah, at Bludorn they do, and I loved it. And I don't know why I never thought about that for a bar. But yeah, they use it to garnish a couple of things.
Specific peppercorn in there, or does it not matter?
No, it just has to be toasted.
This has to be toasted. And you said your finishing salt is Maldon?
Maldon salt.
What's the kosher salt? Or what's the salt in your kitchen?
Diamond.
Diamond, okay.
Well,
I just want to make sure.
We're not heathens here.
Well, we were blue tape earlier. I just want to make sure. I'm just kidding.
I used to use Danielle used the baleen, the blue ball.
Oh yeah.
Line, and I tell you what, the switching from seasoning with diamond to baleen is
hard.
Yeah.
I get really salty.
Yes.
I get really salty. So I have the baleen sea salt at home because kosher salt for some reason is really hard to find at grocery stores.
It is.
And so
shortage
there was, right? And so I had the baleen, and every time I'd cook at home, it was like everything was so salty or not salty enough. It's like I had a hard time figuring out the way to season with it.
We spend our careers like it's almost like it's like a second appendage. It's
right.
Like diamond salt. Like
yes.
knowing you know exactly how much.
Yeah.
The feeling of it. Oh, anyway, don't get me started. That could be a whole podcast.
So back to the station for acid. Do you have lemon cheeks? Do you have vinegars? What are you using?
Normally lemon cheeks on our station. Although I personally like to season with vinegar.
Do you?
Yeah, I find that
vinegar.
Well, honestly, I've kind of gone more towards sherry vinegar. That's probably because of Chef Aaron.
Danielle, hello.
Oh, stop.
Yeah.
I'm always like put
sherry
in it.
Yeah. Maybe some cherry vinegar.
Yeah.
But another favorite of mine is white balsamic vinegar.
Yeah.
I use it a lot because it's a little sweeter. But yeah, so I guess it's a mix of lemon and vinegars.
And then, do you have plate wipers on your station?
Yes.
How do you make them?
With seafolds. You take the whole seafold. I learned this as well through my mentorship. You take the whole seafold, fold it in half, and then in half again. And then, it gets cooked with the little bit of vinegar and water. Yeah. And I will say, at one point when we opened Bar Bludorn, I cut them in half. I took half a seafold and did it. And yeah, it doesn't work the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
So I had
Yeah, and that's another line item that I will accept.
Yeah, we had Barkley Dodge on a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying that in his kitchen they have the alcohol for the plate wipes, and he says everyone knows it's like an El Bulli thing from when he worked at El Bulli. Is like the bottle with the red tape on it is always alcohol. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I never knew that, but I thought that's a good thing that people listening could catch on. Like, add that to your kitchen if you're listening. If there's no alcohol bottles standard, red tape's a good standard on a bottle of alcohol. I thought that was kind of cool. It's like, if I ever,
I like that.
yeah, I was like, I like that. And then, is there something that you could tell a cook or a chef listening, like something that that you do in your kitchen that really enhances flavor, or a technique that you do that was like, everyone should be doing this, but no one knows about it?
Honestly, I think I've kind of already said it. And I think a lot of my cooks got weird, I guess, when I would tell them, but I actually do like a lot of if I ever use spices or peppers, don't like over toast them. But if you do, vinegar is a great way to pull all the flavors out. It's like, it's brighter than lemon cheeks. So it's brighter than
What do you
lemon
mean?
juice. So like I make a lot of, I guess, salsas, different kinds. But even not just salsas, say there's another puree or sauce it's very peppery forward, whether it's like chili flake or something, or there's bitter flavors, whether it's nuts. If it's too bitter, if you pour a little bit of vinegar, it brightens it and it pops it. And then you add a little bit of salt, but always add the vinegar first. And it just makes it, like, in my head, I guess, more like round. And you know what I mean? Like, you taste something and it's just like, oh yeah, it's there. But then if you add the vinegar, it's like, I don't know.
And you, chef,
That's what I like.
You have like a tip for cooks that like everyone should know this, but they don't?
Oh, wow, that's a really loaded question there. Everyone should know this, but they don't.
I'm sure some people do, but you know what I mean. Like,
I'm gonna throw one out there, and it's, your uniform is a direct response of how good your food's gonna taste. It directly affects how good. If you walk in, very clean. If you shaved, I have a beard, but I still shave every morning, and I take the time to put myself together. My head is also put together and ready to walk into that day to cook the best food I can.
Yeah, how clean you look is how clean you cook, right?
Absolutely.
If you had a Mount Rushmore of chefs, like, so that's 4 chefs that you had to put on Mount Rushmore, I'm going to ask you both. Like, who are the 4 chefs? We'll start with you, and then I'll let you finish. Like, who are the 4 chefs that deserve to be on Mount Rushmore?
Oh my God.
Without pissing anyone off.
Yeah, I know, right? Alain Passard, Roger Verger, Daniel Boulud. I'm real heavy on the French. And then this is going to be a wild one. Tracy Desjardins.
Yeah. No one's ever said her before on this show. Why her? Because not a lot of people know her, and I know who she is, and she's great. But a lot of people who may not know her, like, why her? You.
I think what she did for seasonality, with chefs, and she was a mentor to Douglas Keane, the chef that I work for, and one of my mentors. And I just think about someone who had impacted cuisine so much, or my cuisine indirectly, and she's it.
Yeah, she's a legend.
Yeah,
she's a legend. Great. I'm glad you threw her on there.
Yeah.
How about you, chef?
To me?
Yeah, to you.
Okay. I'm gonna have to say Thomas Keller. I have all of his books. It's one of my go-tos. I love Enrique Olvera.
Yeah.
I also have all of his books. That's what I go to.
His books are worth a ton of money these days.
I don't care.
No, I'm just saying, like, they are.
Yeah.
Like his one. What is it? The tan book. I don't know what it's called. It's like $1,000.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
I've got 2 of them.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's like a Bitcoin these days. One of those books. Yeah.
Thomas Keller, Enrique. I also, and I'm not just saying this, but I also love Alain Passard, because he is one of the few that I think would always. He's traditional, but he also is like, no rules, and we'll just throw it. Like, let's just do this. And then my last one, of course, yes, Chef Daniel Boulud, because I do also have all of his books. And I'm gonna fangirl a little bit, but I met him for the first time, and I was so scared, so I barely talked. But the energy, the happiness, all of it,
Yeah,
I'm just like,
the life of the party.
I can see that he's a great mentor.
It's funny
Just loves
because
everybody.
I don't know. I don't know if this was said on the podcast or if it was just a conversation with someone that I had, but they were saying how Daniel Boulud's everywhere. He like you see him here, then you see him there, and he's all over the world all the time.
Yeah.
But that reminds me of you. Because I feel like, Aaron, every time I see you, like you're in a new city, you're in New York, you're at Pebble Beach, you're in Austin today, you're in Houston. Like, how do you do that?
You learn from the master.
Yeah.
But you also have a good team.
Yeah.
You have to have a good team to be able to do it. And it's fun to be able to connect with so many chefs. And now being in Houston, I love, getting out and sort of preaching the gospel. Showing everyone what we're doing, because it's worth a look.
Well, for the people that are listening, where can people find you? We'll start with you.
So if we're talking Instagram, at Aaron Bludorn, at Bludorn HTX, at Bar Bludorn HTX, so on and so forth. The restaurant is Bludorn, Bar Bludorn, Navy Blue, and Perseid.
And you, Chef?
I do not have all of that. But
Yes.
my Instagram is just Zella_Peña93 or XELLA_Peña93.
Good. This was fun. We'll have you back again soon.
Thank you so much for having us.
So last Hot Luck, you were here. Every Hot Luck, you should be here.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Let's make this a thing.
Awesome. Well, thank you so
Yearly
much.
check-in.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chef.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the show. You know what to do. Make sure you leave 5 stars if you're listening on Spotify or anywhere, really. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button. I'd completely revamped the Chef's PSA store, shop.chefspsa.com. My team added a ton of new items. I advise you to go check it out. Just peruse, look around. Maybe you see something nice that you like. Keep supporting the show. Go to chefspsa.com. You get books, obviously the merch, early access to episodes on Substack and Spotify for premium members. We'll see you next week. Hit the porno music.
Yo, it's André in the kitchen, mixing, dropping chef knowledge, no fiction, stirring up the beats, heating up the session. Listen close, classes in session.